Look where we are at. We're trying something creative tonight. This is Twin Peaks in San Francisco. I know that might look a little fake, but it's actually real. It's one of the nicest views of a city that you'll get any urban area in the world. Robert Saleh has begun the head coaching interview process. The Arizona Cardinals and the Miami Dolphins held their interviews with Robert Saleh today, virtual interviews, so Robert could be in the 49ers building. And he's got interviews with the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens scheduled for Sunday. That's going to be after the 49ers face the Seahawks. Meanwhile, 49ers offensive coordinator Klay Kubiak has only the Pittsburgh Steelers to have requested an interview. Unclear exactly when that interview will be, but let's establish where we are right now. This is Twin Peaks, San Francisco, a look down at the city. It's halftime of the Warriors game. They're playing down there. Maybe I could zoom in on the Chase Center in a little bit. People already saying Baltimore could be a problem. Yes, I think that when you talk about potential destinations for Robert Saleh, he's got to be picky. He has to go to a good organization, situation where I think they already have their quarterback. And obviously, the Baltimore Ravens already do have Lamar Jackson. Arizona, I think that's a poverty franchise. I think that if you look at the Miami Dolphins, that is a team that, well, they don't really have a settled quarterback situation unless you really believe in Tua Tagovailoa. So I think Baltimore is definitely the team to be concerned about if you're the 49ers, if you don't want to lose Robert Saleh. But if he gets offered the Ravens job, you wish him the best. He doesn't necessarily have to be offered the Ravens job. A quarter of the league is looking for a new head coach at this point, by the way. So this can all take a little bit of time, and the more jobs there are open, the higher the likelihood that the 49ers do lose a coach. I'm going to spin back around here. We got Jack holding the light so you can actually see me with the city in the background, and we could talk a little bit more. Yeah, this is something to get used to. It's so dark up here, but it's almost like film noir lighting. It's crazy. It's like half of my face is lit, half is not. I kind of like the cinematography. The problem up here is the reception. And you would think with this massive TV tower right there on Twin Peaks and all the communication towers that the reception would be better, but I guess there have been some outages lately. Anyway, Steve Young had something really interesting to say on the radio the other day on KMBR. He pointed out that the 49ers have been so successful this season in such an unprecedented way. They have overcome a mass injury event in a way that it's never been overcome before. Steve thinks that the 49ers are going to be studied. Like, regardless of how this ends this season, if they lose in Seattle, they win in Seattle, they win the NFC Championship game, they lose the NFC Championship game, all those possibilities still on the table. But Steve believes that the 49ers are going to be studied for how they have overcome a mass injury event that has never really been overcome before. I'm not even sure that a team in NFL history has had a mass injury event as big as the 49ers have suffered this year. I mean, when George Kittle went down against the Philadelphia Eagles, that was another future Hall of Famer that the 49ers lost. We're talking about a potential return of Fred Warner at some point here, maybe next week if the 49ers win this game against Seattle. That's a Hall of Famer that the 49ers have lost, they can regain. We're talking about Brandon Ayuk defecting from the team. I know that's not an injury event this year, but that's a player who led the league in yards per reception in 2023. We're talking about Mykel Williams. That is a first-round draft pick whom the 49ers have lost for the season, who was playing really good football. I mean, that's just scratching the surface of the injury issues that they have had this year, and yet they sit here with 13 wins, 13-5 on the season, with a chance to advance to the NFC Championship game. They've already knocked off the defending world champions on the road. That is something that is worthy of being studied. And just by virtue of that, teams are going to want to poach the 49ers coaching staff. I'm sure that the interest level in the 49ers coaching staff will extend beyond Robert Saleh and Klay Kubiak, but those are the two coordinators, and it would not be shocking to see either of those two guys hired, especially with so many openings around the entirety of the NFL. But that's just the way that goes. When you have a system that has delivered enviable results, well then you have to be ready for your coaching staff to be poached. Now, I personally believe that the NFL should change its rules to where you can't start this interview process until after the Super Bowl, because I think that this is not college. There's no like transfer portal and no recruiting window that you need to have a coach, in place for. I think that everybody would be okay if these coaches didn't start interviewing till after the Super Bowl, so that these guys wouldn't have to balance so much. There's a rule in place to where the interviews cannot start until after the wild card round, so everybody left Saleh alone for the wild card round. It's very clear that he scheduled these interviews in a way to minimize the interference with his 49ers duties. The two today, Arizona and Miami, after the 49ers finished their primary game planning. I mean, the bulk of work was done Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So he's doing 2 interviews tonight or today after the bulk of game planning was done and installed. And he's doing 2 more interviews with Baltimore and Tennessee on Sunday night after the 49ers get back home from Seattle. So thankfully, he's been able to minimize the distraction, but it's still ridiculous that these guys are even tempted with this kind of distraction. And it's tough because you wish the best for Robert Saleh, and he deserves every right to advance his career, but it's really, really hard when he's got to juggle all of these things. Anyway, we're up at Twin Peaks here in San Francisco. Why don't we start the zooming process? It might get a little bit shaky, but I want to show you guys downtown San Francisco. Here, I'm going to try to keep it as still as I possibly can. That is a look straight down Market Street. With the zoom and the lack of a stabilizer on YouTube Live, it's a little bit tough. You can see the red light at the left. That's the top of the famous Transamerica Pyramid. The Salesforce Tower has the blue crown. That is the tallest building west of the Mississippi. Now, I know it's halftime right now, the Warriors game. Halftime might have ended not too long ago. The Chase Center is along the waterfront. I'm going to try to find it right now. Well, I found Oracle Park where the Giants play. You guys see the orange lights? That's Oracle Park. I know it's shaky, so I'm going to zoom back out so you guys don't get seasick watching this video. But that's where the San Francisco Giants play. We've compared this 49ers team to the 2010 San Francisco Giants. And a bit further down the water, and I can't really see it right now because it's just dark, so I can't really spot where it might be. But a bit further down the water, right in the middle of this frame, is Chase Center, and that's where the Warriors are currently playing the New York Knicks. But you can pan across the Mission District, downtown San Francisco, all the way to, this is cool, the University of San Francisco is right here. There's the Golden Gate Bridge on the left. USF and St. Ignatius Church is in the middle. And then it looks like there's a building there lit up in 49ers colors toward the right. You can see the gold and the red. Maybe we'll have to go drive by that building and check it out. San Francisco City Hall is not lit up in 49ers colors tonight. They got to do something about that. Do you guys see City Hall in the middle? That needs to be changed, and I'm sure it will be before the 49ers play the Seahawks on Saturday night. Who wants me to do a show from in front of San Francisco City Hall? Maybe we can do that if it's lit up in 49ers colors before I leave to Seattle. All right, I'm ready to answer some of your questions. Somebody said, let's embrace the moment. What do you think I'm doing here, man? I'm doing shows from Twin Peaks. We're going above and beyond. We don't want to be stuck in the studio for every one of these shows. So we've got 49ers assistants interviewing for head coaching jobs, and we're doing the show from Twin Peaks in San Francisco. Seattle's a beautiful city, but they don't have a view like this one. I did the week 1 show after the 49ers beat the Seahawks before I flew out from a place called Cary Park in Seattle. Cool view of the Space Needle, but it's not Twin Peaks. No, Chris Kasarik is probably not going to be the defensive coordinator. People ask me that every year. He likes being a defensive line coach. Mike said, why wouldn't Gus Bradley go with his good friend Saleh as his defensive coordinator or even assistant head coach? That's very possible. It just depends on where Gus Bradley wants to be. Gus is developing relationships with people in the 49ers building as well, and they can offer him Robert Saleh's head defensive coordinator position if it ends up being something that they want to do. So those are all musical chairs. that won't be settled until after this is done, and we'll see where everybody's preference is, and we'll see where everybody's comfort level is. I'm not really sure what's happening with the Cleveland Browns right now because there's a head coaching change there, but Jim Schwartz, their defensive coordinator, is still under contract. I think the owner of the Browns wants to keep Schwartz around. That's somebody that the 49ers would be interested in. End of the day, I think let's embrace the moment. I'll report on these interviews as they happen, but all of the speculation about the future, let's actually wait to see if Robert Saleh gets hired somewhere. Let's enjoy the defense that Robert Saleh has been able to field this year with the 49ers despite the mass injury event. Here's the stat of the year. Mykel Williams came in. I've got a couple of rookie stats of the year, but these are surrounding the 49ers' new players. Mykel Williams came in for the 49ers this year. While he was in there from weeks 1 to 9, the 49ers were number 6 in run defense, up from number 29 last year. So Robert Saleh came in here, and even without Nick Bosa and without Fred Warner for a large chunk of that first half of the season, he improved the run defense 23 spots from number 29 to number 6 in EPA per play. To me, that's the single most important improvement the 49ers made all year. After losing Mykel Williams from week 10 onward, the 49ers have dropped from number 6 to number 26 in run defense. That is the number that has to be rectified on Saturday night in Seattle. It wasn't good enough in week 18. They gave up 180 yards on 39 carries. They gave up the Charbonnet touchdown. They gave up the 3rd and 17 to Kenneth Walker. But they have a different defense now, which is one of the most amazing things ever. I mean, look, we're here in the area of big picture perspective, Twin Peaks in San Francisco. We'll spin this around one more time for those of you just joining. And I'm here to give you a perspective view of the city while we have a perspective talk about the 49ers defense. And the fact is that in week 18, they had different starters at the linebacker position and at one of the important safety spots that they're going to have going into Seattle. Eric Kendricks is here now. Garrett Wallow is here to start for the 49ers now. And Marquise Siegel is going to start now. And even though Fred Warner won't be back until the week after, and I know the 49ers need to win to earn the week after, we saw this new look defense excel against the most expensive offense in NFL history in Philadelphia. And before you say, oh, well, the Eagles are poorly coached and they fired their offensive coordinator, I get it, but the Seattle Seahawks have been no world beaters offensively either. The 49ers have not allowed more than 13 points in both of the games against Seattle this year. And I know in the second game that had more to do with Seattle than the 49ers, but that's my point, is that this is not a world-beating Seattle offense. It is an awesome Seattle Seahawks defense, but the offense is not great. And the 49ers defense has gotten a lot better. Can they hold them to 13 again is the question. Can they actually pick off Sam Darnold this time is maybe even the bigger question. Can they create a scenario in which the 49ers offense, even if it's facing a really tough defense, can grab control of game flow? That's the imperative question entering this game. And I think there are a lot of reasons for the 49ers to be cautiously optimistic that they can do some of those things, and those would pave the way for a potential upset. You guys see the main artery there in the middle? That is Market Street. You could follow Market Street all the way to its end through the skyscrapers to the ferry building. That's called the Embarcadero. That's where the Embarcadero hits Market Street. You can see the Bay Bridge right there, talking about building a bridge to Fred Warner. So from Twin Peaks, you could see from the Bay Bridge, and you could pan all the way over to the Golden Gate Bridge with St. Ignatius Church and the University of San Francisco right in front of it. Can the 49ers get Mike McDaniel back to offensive coordinator if he doesn't get hired as a head coach, if they lose Klay Kubiak? I don't think so, because the 49ers offensive coordinator position doesn't call plays. So that would be Mike McDaniel, if he doesn't get a head coaching job, and I think that for Baltimore and for Pittsburgh today, right? If Mike McDaniel doesn't get a head coaching job, then I think you could very reasonably see him getting an offensive coordinator job where he can call the plays. The reason the 49ers have been so successful year over year is in large part because Kyle Shanahan actually calls the plays. So the 49ers never have to do a replacement effort in that regard. The Lions offensive coordinator position makes the most sense, according to Mike Urtaza, our producer, for Mike McDaniel. I think that Mike Urtaza should be the offensive coordinator somewhere too. I think that he would do a good job. CG Ruthless says that the 49ers are winning on Saturday. Mark says Eric Kendricks, Garrett Wallow, and D. Winters sounds like some fun stopping the run. Well, that's interesting. So you think that D. Winters, who's been back out of practice, is going to be in that weak side linebacker position? I think it's amazing to think about how much the 49ers have improved at linebacker in just like 10 days. I mean, all of a sudden you're talking about D. Winters as being the weak side linebacker, like the strong, the three, the strong, the Sam, because I don't think that you mess with what worked in Philadelphia. You held the Eagles to 4.3 yards per play. So I really think that this has been a remarkable transformation of the 49ers linebacker crew, and it goes back to Eric Kendricks and it goes back to Garrett Wallow, who was Dre Greenlaw's really good friend with Denver, got waived by Denver, picked up by the 49ers, and now he's playing Dre Greenlaw's position with San Francisco. I understand that the Warriors have begun the second half. We're going to go to a bar. Where should we go, guys? Look, the city is our oyster. We're going to go to a bar. By the way, thanks to Jack. Jack can say what's up. You probably won't hear him.
What's up, everyone?
Jack is the one that's providing the lighting today. We should have mic'd him up as well. But we're going to go down here to check out the Warriors playing the Knicks in the second half. What bar do we need to hit? Whatever bar that you name, it needs to be within the camera frame right now of the city. Let me know. I want some good recommendations, guys. Somebody's riding their bike down the hill. Look at that. Woo! Flying down Twin Peaks. Kezar Pub. That could be a good one. Yeah, Jack is nodding his head. Kezar Pub. We got a Dodgers fan. He thinks they're going to win the next 3 World Series because they signed Kyle Tucker, and the Dodger fan sent $4.99, and he said, "Enjoy a beer on me." All right, man. Thanks for the $4.99, but I'm going to need another $4.99 because I can't afford a beer in San Francisco for $5. Tough times economically here in the city. It's an expensive place. I'm just playing with you. Don't send me another $5, but that's pretty funny. Congratulations to your Dodgers. I'm more focused on the 49ers right now. And right now we have 619 viewers. That's like the area code of San Diego, 619. I'm sure the Padres aren't happy about the 4-year, $240 million contract from the Dodgers for Kyle Tucker. The rich get richer. I'm going to spin this back around. Jack is going to, you can see how good of a job Jack does providing the lighting. I mean, look at that. I think this is the best lighting the channel has ever had. We got Twin Peaks in the background. We have like the film noir lighting, and it's all good. And we're having a party because we are approaching 100,000 subscribers. We got a new microphone for it. Does the new mic sound good? Give us a thumbs up if it does. And also, if we hit 100,000 on game day, I've guaranteed that the 49ers are going to win. But you've got to hit the subscribe button for us to get there. We're over 99,000, which is really, really cool. Jack is most definitely not taking bong hits. That's one of the comments, Jack. People know what Twin Peaks is known for, but no, there's no smoking happening on camera. We're 99,076. It's not that cold here. I have my hooded sweatshirt on, but I'm doing fine out here. And you know, the new mics that we got, they're really good handling the wind. No matter the outcome, this is a season for applause. I agree. Welcome to Renee to the Steve Young level of membership. Yes, you could sign up for membership. This is the kind of cool stuff that we're going to be doing, not just for the rest of this season, but in the off season. We travel a lot. We're going to give you guys some cool locations. We'll be in the studio. Going to do all that, talking about, I mean, this 49ers offseason is already set up to be really, really fun. They're just at the year 1 of this 3-year cap building cycle. I mean, this was supposed to be the squeak into the playoffs if you were healthy here. They not only squeaked into the playoffs, they kicked the door down hurt. It's a really, really cool setup that the 49ers have given themselves for the 2026 and 27 seasons. And the most important thing is they've got the quarterback at the center of it. Brock Purdy, despite the turf toe, was able to finish ranked number 2 in QBR. Drake May, congratulations to him, finished as number 1 in QBR this year. I think he should win the MVP. I don't think he will because I think that voters are too obsessed with counting stats, but I digress. We can talk about that at a different point. Is Sam Darnold going to play? I think he's going to play. I would be shocked if Sam Darnold let this oblique issue hold him out. So, yeah, Sam is going to play. All right, a few more questions. Toss them in. Somebody said Fred needs to save his energy for next season when the schedule would be tougher. Come on, guys. They're 49ers in the playoffs right now. If Fred is able to come back and if it clears everything on the team standard medical level, then he's going to come back this year. And I think he's really damn close. He almost made it this week. Unfortunately, the comeback has been miraculous, but it hasn't been that miraculous for Fred Warner. So it's one of those things where you're not going to keep him off the field if he meets the benchmarks that he needs to meet, and I think he's really, really close. People are asking what my prediction is. So here's the thing. I picked the 49ers to lose in Seattle in week 1, and they won. I picked the 49ers to win in week 18, and they lost. Would you rather have me pick the 49ers to lose or pick them to win? Because, just remember what actually happened in week 1 after I picked them to lose. So before divulging my prediction, keep that in mind. Any more questions? Somebody asked, can Lombardi be described as a 49ers beat reporter? I don't like that title. I think I'm a lot more than that. I think I cover the city, I cover the culture. I think, beat reporter sounds like I'm just writing articles. I think I'm making videos. I just like to call myself, maybe an analyst, maybe a sandwich reviewer. I don't know. You guys can make up my title, but I think officially my title is 49ers reporter. But that job has evolved over the course of the years. How do I think Pinheiro will do? Well, I think he'll do just as he's done all year. He's only missed 1 field goal all season, and it was from 64 yards in Indianapolis. So he could be forgiven for that miss. Eddie Pinheiro is a stud. All right, guys, 23 minutes. That's Christian McCaffrey's number. I think that's a good time to wrap this up. You guys want one more tour of the city? Here you go. San Francisco on a beautiful, Thursday night? We're going to go to a bar to watch the Warriors game. It might be Kezar Pub. There is the city. I'm going to rotate this back around. Oops, almost lost you guys. Zoom in. It's at 650 viewers. Shout out to the 650 for doing the area code game. That's really fun. We're going to zoom back out. Thanks to Jack for the professional lighting. We're going to go around one more time. There he is. Look, this is how Jack was able to do the lighting. I'm going to flip it around on him. There it is. There's the light. There's the light. And that allows us to frame the city in the background. Everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe, because if we get to 100,000 on game day, the 49ers are beating the Seattle.